This week I am visiting my parents. Vancouver has an island called Vancouver Island. My parents live there. And I came to visit my parents so they could see their grandson and also to have some inspiration time in the downtown of Victoria. A lot of you may not know that I studied photography and I have this great passion for street photographs, especially in black and white and usually on film, although now I'm pursuing it digitally just to save some costs while I get some practice in again. And I just love the city of Victoria. The architecture is so beautiful. There are all of these structural lines and beautiful shapes, and that paired with the beautiful light of a buzzing Saturday morning was the perfect time to be downtown Victoria capturing the scenes. So here's just a few of the clips that I took while I was downtown, and I hope that you love seeing them just as much as I do. And I hope to share a little bit more of my work on here in some capacity. I'm trying to get out every week, no matter where I am, just to photograph some of these portraits and see what I can come up with for a future project. Now, I didn't do very much cooking at my parents', but I did bake alongside my mom, which is a beautiful memory for me. As little girls, my sister and I were baking in the kitchen with our mom from a very young age. And so here I am again, side by side with my mom in the kitchen, and she is showing me how to make our very regular staple South African food, biscuit, which is sort of like a hard bread. I think the Italians would call it biscotti. And we dunk it in our tea or our coffee, and it's a pretty popular treat in South Africa. She's done the main mixing here of the flour and the oats, raisins and coconut, and I am adding the baking powder and the salt. And as you can see, the measuring is sort of loose. I guess she makes this so often that by now she just sort of guesstimates most of the time, and it turns out. Now I was measuring the sugar here and thought to add it to the dry ingredients, and as you can tell by my mom's reaction, that was not the way to do it. The sugar should go in with the melted butter so that the sugar can melt with the heat of the butter. So put the sugar with the butter. And then I'm adding the buttermilk, which is just a mixture of milk and lemon juice, which sits for a while and then makes buttermilk. I'm adding that to the dry ingredients and then also the butter sugar mixture. Now, I'll leave a recipe for you down in the description box below. This is our family recipe and it changes all the time on what they have in the house, but this is sort of a rough recipe down in the description box. And then we mixed all of it together. And I don't know if you've been able to tell yet, but we made 2 batches. And once everything was mixed together nicely, we turn it out into a pan that's been buttered and then separate it with a fork. Now you don't want to overmix, and you also don't want to handle the dough too much in the pan because when you compact it too much, it loses its ability to suck up the juice when you dunk it in your coffee or tea. And then the dough gets baked in the oven, and once it comes out, she lets it cool, and then she slices it while it's still kind of hot and easy to slice. Packs out each individual piece on these cookie trays so that they can now dry out in the oven for a few hours at a very low temperature. we are in the last little chunk of our summer here, and we have a bounty of cucumbers right now, and so I made a cucumber salad. I brought some cucumbers with me that were long, and I cut them in half and took out these seeds in the middle. And then sliced the cucumber into about 1/2-inch slices and added them to a bowl. Now for the sauce, I combined cream, lemon juice, and some olive oil with salt and pepper. And then right at the end, before serving it, I chopped some fresh mint and grinded some black pepper. Now when you let these ingredients sit, they sort of marry one another over time and combine in a really nice flavor. Pepper, which finished off this easy summer salad. Well, this week's video has been a little different than usual. I thank you for tuning in still. I look forward to giving you some exciting content coming up this week. We are picking up our big meat order, so I'm looking forward to cleaning out the freezer and getting ready for our meat to come in, which will require a little bit of processing since we don't really have room to store all of the bones and the fat. And so I've got my work cut out for me in the coming weeks, and I hope that you'll join me and that you have a really good rest of your week. Cheers, bye.